قال ومن ذريتي. Ibrahim alayhi salam, this great Imam for humanity, what did he first think of? His dhurriyyah. The first thing Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Allah Azza wa Jal, after he was told that he will be an Imam for humanity, what did he say? What will happen to those after me? قال ومن ذريتي. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قال لا ينال عهدي الظالمين. The zalimin and the oppressors, anyone, ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. Whoever does wrongdoing will be held accountable for it. But Ibrahim alayhi salam shows us the thought that he gave for those who came after him. And this is found also in the dua of Ibrahim and Ismail. رَبَّنَا وَاجْعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِنَا أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ. O Allah, make us of those who truly submit to you in a full state of Islam, and from our dhurriyyah make an ummah of those who submit to you as well. That shows us how a leader thinks. It's not just me, it's my son, it's my daughter, it's my family. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, protect yourself and your families from the fire of hell. The legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the legacy of Dhul Hijjah, these blessed days are also in a Sayyidah Hajar, as she was left in the desert and with no zad, no provisions. And Ibrahim alayhi salam was walking away and she asked him, Allah amaraka bihada. Allah told you to do this. Look at this righteous woman. Look at this righteous mother. Did Allah tell you to do this? And then he said, Allahumma na'am. Yes, this is an amr from Allah. To leave you in wadin ghayri dhi zar', in this barren land, before Mecca had oil fields, before Mecca became very prosperous with people and millions of people from all of the lands coming. He said yes. So then what did she say? إِذًا لَن يُضَيِّعَنَا. إِذًا لَن يُضَيِّعَنَا. Allah will not make us in loss. How can I protect my children and my dhurriyyah? How can I protect my family? Make them with Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what Dhul Hijjah, that's what Ibrahim alayhi salam teaches us. You know, there's a beautiful verse in the Quran. We have, it seems, a bunch of hafiz with us. All right. So let's see if you know which surah this is in. وَالْبَلَدُ الطَّيِّبُ. Who are some of the students of Hifz? Does anyone know this? وَالْبَلَدُ الطَّيِّبُ. Can anyone continue it? يَخْرُجُ نَبَاتُهُ. Which surah? You know? Anyone? يخرج نباته بإذن ربه والذي خبث لا يخرج إلا نكدا. This is Surah Al-A'raf. Surah Al-A'raf. Look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this surah. He says, the pleasant land, that which is fertile, that which is pleasant, its nabat and its fruits will be born by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. They'll come. The good fruits will come. والذي خبث لا يخرج إلا نكدا كذلك نصرف الآيات لقوم يشكرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he go on to say? He says, and that which is unpleasant will come out very scarcely. The fruit will not be good. No way. It will not produce something that is strong. It will not. And look at the end of the verse. It says, that is how we clarify the ayat for a people of shukr, people of gratitude. You know, this Eid that we're going to have right now is a Eid of shukr, a Eid of gratitude. And there's many meanings. That's not the talk. But how can we link this with the subject of LGBTQ and understanding what's going on, what are our children learning in school, what's happening to society, why is this issue being proliferated the way it is? How does this relate? In a very profound way. You know, what's the solution, the personal solution, not the social solution, not for society. What's the personal solution to this whole issue? If a true sense of spirituality is found in the heart and Iman is cultivated the right way, then guess what? This issue and more will not be enough to sway our sons and daughters away from the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. The true problem that the young generation in our community, the Muslim community, is facing with this issue and other issues is that Iman has not been properly developed within the heart. So this is true. This is not just general stuff. If whether you're talking about the issue of feminism, or whether you're talking about the issue of secularism, you're talking about this issue about sexuality and what people are speaking of in this world, you talk about social media and all of the toxic influencers that society has, there's one thing that has the power to outdo all of this. By the way, every day and night, our children, especially if they have TV, especially if they go to school, especially if they have gadgets in their hands, they are being exposed to this stuff on every level. Spoon-fed it. Why? To get people to the point where they have ilful ma'siyah, normalizing sin. We want to normalize this. We don't want it to be taboo anymore. Because once it's normalized, that's it, you'll lower your guard. You won't feel bad. You won't feel, once it's normalized, you won't feel bad when you see someone doing something very, very obscene. And that shows that Iman is dead in the heart. If Iman's alive in the heart, as soon as someone feels something wrong, oh my God, I'm uncomfortable. And that's why, you know what the Prophet ﷺ said about ithm, right? The Prophet ﷺ described sin in this way. وَالْإِثْمُ مَا حَاكَ فِي النَّفْسِ وَكَرِهْتَ أَنْ يَطَّلِعَ عَلَيْهِ النَّاسِ. This is for someone who has a fitrah. Their natural design that Allah created them with is intact. The Prophet ﷺ says, Ithm and sin is that which bothers you on the inside, and you don't want anyone to see it. That's a sign that Iman's well in the heart. If I have done something wrong and I feel so shameful for it. But as the Arabs, they say, there's this beautiful statement that they say, وَمَا لِجُرْحٍ بِمَيِّتٍ إِلَامُ. If the heart's dead, then you can poke all you want. You could poke the body all you want. If the heart's dead, forget about it. He's not going to feel anything. It's not going to affect him in any way. So really, regardless of what, inshallah, we're going to get into the details of the issue. But this is beginning and end. This is beginning and end. This is the bottom line. The only way right now, I as an individual, I'm not someone who can change the constitution. I'm not someone who's a politician. I'm not someone who is even a lawyer or a judge or whatever. We can't change this. There are certain realities in society today that we cannot individually reverse. Maybe as a community, we can speak out against it. That's different. But I as an individual, what can I practically do after this? Right now, I need to make my number one mission. I need to build up Iman the proper way. Not any weak, hazy or shady way. I need to build it up proper upon ilm. فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Upon true knowledge, upon yaqeen and awareness. If I do this, I've given my son, daughter, the best gift I could possibly give them. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he says, مَا نَحَلَ وَالِدٌ وَلَدًا خَيْرًا مِنْ أَدَبٍ حَسَنٍ. There is no greater gift a father could give to his son than having proper etiquette, proper understanding. Fahm, all right? The Prophet ﷺ says about fahm, an understanding. مَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. If Allah wants goodness for someone, He'll give him a depth of understanding of deen. What is it? What does Allah want from me and why? And what's behind it and how can I achieve this? These are the questions. Now, getting into the issue at hand. Look, the Quran goes in detail, explaining certain things. You know, if you want to, there are two surahs, let's see if any of you guys know this. There are two surahs in the Quran that give us the corpus of moral teachings. The corpus of moral teachings in the Quran are found in two surahs. Details about how society should function with each other if it's going to be healthy, and those things that lead to the ruin of society. Two surahs of the Quran that from beginning to end they are about adab ijtima'iyya, social etiquettes. Right? Well, anyone know what these surahs are? Surah Al-Furqan, you said? No, not Surah Al-Furqan. No. Huh? Surah Al-Mu'minun, both of you are very close. There is a surah in between. No, what's the one in between these two? Mu'minun and Furqan. What's the one in between? No, Ahzab is somewhere very far away. I'll give you a hint. It's the surah that speaks about Hadithatul Ifk. It speaks about the story of the evident lie in which Sayyidah Aisha was accused in her honor. Surah An-Nur. Very good. Surah An-Nur. Surah أنزلناها وفرضناها وأنزلنا فيها آيات بينات لعلكم تذكرون. Right? Surah An-Nur, from the beginning to end, all of it's about social etiquette. There's another surah. One of the Hafiz recited from this surah. What's the surah? Qaf, you said? Al-A'raf? No, not Al-A'raf. Surah Al-A'raf speaks to us a lot about the stories of the past and about the Day of Judgment and Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, Sayyidina Musa, not Surah Al-A'raf, Ashab al-Sabt, the story of the Sabbath. There's another surah. One of the Hafiz recited it. One of you guys, go ahead, any one of you. Surah? There you go. Surah Al-Hujurat. Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Hujurat. Social etiquettes in the Quran. If you want to know what the Quran says about how we should deal and what's the consequences of not dealing in this way, read these two surahs. You need to go study these surahs in depth. There's a verse in Surah An-Nur that says this. إن الذين يحبون أن تشيع الفاحشة في الذين آمنوا لهم عذاب أليم في الدنيا والآخرة. Those who love to proliferate indecency among believers, among society, they will have a painful punishment in this dunya and the akhirah. This is the promise of the Quran. You know, there's a similar promise from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَلَمْ تَظْهَرِ الْفَاحِشَةُ فِي قَوْمٍ قَطْ حَتَّى يُعْلِنُوا بِهَا إِلَّا فَشَا فِيهِمُ الطَّاعُونُ وَالْأَوْجَاعِ الَّتِي لَمْ تَكُنْ فِي أَسْلَافِهِمْ. Prophet ﷺ, he said in this hadith, he said, and whenever fahisha, obscenity, becomes prevalent among a people, to the extent that they're doing it publicly, then you will find the plagues and calamities will strike them that were never in their predecessors before. Does this happen? Has this happened? Is this going on? Yes, it's true. This is the kalam as-sadiq al-masduq. The Prophet ﷺ is saying this. And we know this from illicit relationships. There are certain diseases that are transferred from one person to another. And some of these diseases could lead to terminal illnesses. Some of these diseases lead to permanent damage to the way the body functions. Yes. Right, there's a lot of detail to go into, but because, out of respect for the audience and for the masjid and for the space, we cannot go into a lot of these details. But we know the guidance of the Quran. The Quran gives us guidance on the subject of sexuality, of how I deal with those shahawat, because there's one of the scholars, he said a beautiful statement. He said, al-fitnatu naw'an. There are two types of fitna. There is a smaller one and a major one. A smaller one and a major one. Both of them are very big problems. The first type of fitna, the major one, or so he starts with the minor one. The minor one, he says, is shahwa, desire. The major one is shubha, misconception. The reason why shubha is the major one is because shubha makes someone think that they're doing ihsan, and they're actually doing ifsad. This is a very big problem. It's one thing if someone was overcome. We had examples from the Sahaba of people who fell into fahisha, fell into great wrongdoing, illicit relationships with the opposite gender. And they were heartbroken by what they have fallen into. The shahwa made them fall into something and they greatly regretted it. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, he said about one of these ladies, her name is Al-Ghamidiyya, he said, لَقَدْ تَابَتْ تَوْبَةً لَوُزِّعَتْ عَلَىٰ أَهْلِ الْمَدِينَةِ لَوَسِعَتْهُمْ. Ghamidiyya, she made such a repentance that if it was to be distributed on all of the people of Medina, her repentance would be enough for them. It's one thing for someone to do this and fall into it and feel a broken heart, great regret. It's another thing for someone to believe ideologically that what they're doing is right and that they need to spread it and they need to aggressively promote it. That's what's happening in society today. And just to understand this issue, like on a social level, there was once upon a time, if you go look at the history of America, there was once upon a time where the beaches of America were more chaste and more proper than the current beaches of Muslim countries today, right? Long sleeves, cap. They did not used to. Yeah, let's go look, read in the books of history. Go back 100 years, you'll find men and women in this country, they all used to even wear caps. Even and when an actor came out, I think it was like in the 50s or something like that, 40s, and she was obscenely dressed just because she was not dressed properly. She was an actor. There was a big uproar in society. What is this? What is this? How could this be allowed on for entertainment? Right? How could this be allowed for entertainment? This was the condition of this country decades ago. This was the condition. And then fast forward, this issue of same-sex attraction was referred to in a very derogatory way. People are coming out of the closet. Right? That's how it was referred to. People are coming out of the closet and they were looked down upon by everyone else in society. Right? Then fast forward, right? We want equal rights. We want to be able to get married to each other just like everyone else gets married to each other. That's what it is. Then fast forward a little further. If you do not celebrate us and accept us, you are a bigot, you're a backward person. You need to be removed from your political position. You need to be ostracized by society. You need to be removed from your job. That's what it is, society. You know what they call this? The brothers, this is the reality. It's not, no one should be, because many of our youth are getting exposed to, well, okay, why should I be judgmental? Let people do whatever they want. Why should I, it's not about being judgmental. It's about a people who have a mission to normalize their acts and shove it down everyone's throat to accept it. You know what they call this? They call this fascism. Fascism. This is a modern day fascism. The LGBTQ plus movement is a modern form of fascism. If you say anything of disagreement, then your political career, if you're a politician, is completely over. You don't believe me? Go look, there's in one of the other states recently, there was a Muslim who was, I think it was in the city council or something like that. He had a position and he just expressed his disagreement that his beliefs and his faith don't allow him to accept such things as being okay. He was forced to resign. People began to harass him at his place of work, and they put him in the news, and they smear campaign, they ruined his reputation. And he completely was, isolated from the rest of society, just because he said these words. Not that he said anything crazy, like burn them at the stake or do something. No, he didn't say anything crazy like that. All he said was, I don't accept this, and I think it's wrong to do this. Now that shows us how, this is a big bala'un mubin that has fallen upon us as Muslims in this country, and it's a very bad marker for the future of society here. Unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills and enables that something changes, because it's a very, very dangerous reality that we're in. Now, they're going after the children. How are they going after the children? They've been going after the children in cartoons and in TV shows and movies. This has been there. But now, even it's being forced. In my community, as young as kindergarten, they send with them some schoolwork. Here, you have to color this rainbow. Why do I have to color this rainbow? It's Pride Month. What is Pride Month? Oh, Pride Month's about equal rights. We all celebrate each other, right? Kindergarten, 5 years old, is being told to accept this. How on earth are they going to know how are you even going to have a conversation? In our minds, in our understandings, in anyone's sense, how am I even going to have a conversation with a 5-year-old about a subject like this? I don't even want my son, my daughter to hear the word sexuality. How is this? But now we're forced. They hear this. Now they're being told that if you are confused about what you are, it's okay. If you're a boy and you feel like you're a girl, no one can tell you that you're doing something wrong. It's okay. You could feel like you're a girl. If you want to have a she pronoun, go ahead. You could have a she pronoun. Very confusing things that were never in society before. Now, not just this, it's the people with the millions A'udhu billah, alteration of Allah's creation to the fullest. You find someone with millions of dollars, you know what he spends it on? He spends it on, trying to look like a lizard. He identifies as a lizard, and he wants to look like, I'm not even joking. He wants to look like a lizard. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. The shaitan, وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ فَهُمْ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Tazeen al-shaytan. He cuts off his nose, he adds certain parts, even he paints his body. Why? Because he wants to look like a lizard. Because that's how he identifies. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. This confusion on the subject of sexuality. Once upon a time, the problem was you had a very small group of people who were men who wanted to dress like women, transvestites, that's what they call them. This was old problems, it's not new, right? But now, you have such confusion on the subject of sexuality. A'udhu billah. Even, in this country, you still have some Christians who are very religious. They're very outspoken. They go to their school boards, they pick out some of the books. I've seen videos. You could look this up. They pull books that are being put in the library for the children. Young children, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, showing the awrat, showing the awrah. This is the organ of a male, this is for female, and they're speaking about this subject, very, very inappropriate things that kindergartners, first graders, second graders, they're being exposed to. We gave this talk, there was a very smart kid in our community, I think he was like 11 or 12 years old, very smart kid. We gave this talk recently in our community, and we were speaking of these challenges. This young boy, he said, in my school, they had a day to celebrate the people who are LGBTQ+, because it's Pride Month, and I don't believe what they believe, so I didn't want to celebrate it. So what I did was, I went to the bathroom, and I hid in the bathroom until the celebration finished. And when the teacher found out what I did, they gave me detention, and they did not allow me to play in the recess. He's a little kid, right? But you look at the figure, look. His malja and his safe space was the bathroom. Why? Because he did not want to participate in, and even people who are workers, at work, they don't want to lose their job. So they say, Shaykh, what do I do? Can I call in sick from work? I don't want to go in sick because they're going to do some celebration. This is where we're at, and that shows you how the condition of society has greatly deteriorated. And now, this is the problem. What's the solution? What's the solution? This is the problem. What's the solution? If someone has the ability to remove their children from these realities, then this is fard upon them. If they have some way, whatever it is, homeschooling, mashallah, Islamic school, mashallah, some way to protect, because look, the bottom line is there's no way that you are going to have a successful conversation with someone who is 5, 6, 7 years old about this subject, and they're going to walk away with a good understanding. They're going to be confused out of their minds unless you close them off from all doors of fasad. Maybe if they're in their teenage years, you could have a conversation. They're more understanding. You can give and take with them. You can tell them, this is haqq, this is batil, this is what this does to society. And but there's so many things to say. I've had people come to me in the masjid over there, and one of the scenarios I had was someone who had the same-sex attraction and felt a great sense of regret. Why do I feel like this? I don't understand. I don't know why I feel attracted to men. I'm a man, and I feel attracted to men. And the response to this was easy, because this is not a new reality. This is something that's old. There's one thing for you to be attracted to something, and there's another thing for you to act upon illicit attraction, something that is haram. If someone feels muyul shahwa to something that is haram, and they don't do it, what are they going to get? Are they going to get sayyat or hasanat? They're going to get hasanat. The Prophet ﷺ tells us this. This is easy to deal with. The problem is with the one, and this was the second type of person. The second scenario was someone who came to me, and he was in such despair because he believes that Allah, wal-'iyadhu billah, was not fair, that I am attracted to the same gender, and Islam's not allowing me to practice this, and this isn't fair. This is a Muslim boy. This is not someone who converted to Islam. Muslim boy. Muslim boy who was having this conversation with me, and I'm trying to explain to him why he should not think like this. And I'll tell you, a lot of this is coming from, look what the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says. Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, كل مولود يولد على الفطرة فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. Prophet ﷺ said, every mawlud is upon fitrah. Then the surroundings alter. And that's why they say, al-akhlaq mu'diya, character is contagious. People, their behavior changes by what they're exposed to. If they're young children and they're taught, oh, pink is for girls and you should not play with this and that, and then they start being attracted to this color and they want to, they're effeminate. Some people, Allah created them this way. They're not very masculine. They're effeminate. And they think that, oh, that means I'm confused about my sexuality. That means I must be a girl or something like that. So this is by the influence of the surroundings. Influence of the surroundings. That the Prophet ﷺ teaches us this in the hadith. And here's a solution. Besides pulling my children away from fasad, what am I allowing my children to do in their alone time? Do I leave them alone with video games? I tell you, we're in summer right now. If I leave my son or daughter away alone with video games, I am giving them the sources for fasad. I should not think for a moment just because my son, daughter come to masjid, do hifd, that they're protected. There was a imam who visited our community from Chicago. His name Mufti Azimuddin. And he told me he was giving talks about atheism across the country. One of the scariest things he told me, was every time he would go give this workshop about atheism he has, a mother, father would approach him afterwards and say, Shaykh, please help us. My son, my daughter, they don't feel Muslim anymore. They're having doubts about the religion and they want to leave it altogether. And their son's a hafiz. Their son's a hafiz. He said he knows of a situation where the boy was leading Taraweeh and he wasn't even Muslim. He's not Muslim. He's just putting on the show because he has to. But in his heart, he doesn't believe. He said, I have doubts about Islam. I don't know if Islam's truth. So this is there. We should not allow our children to remain. Isolation is ruining society. There's a beautiful statement that our Salaf, they teach us. They say, if you don't consume yourself with goodness, then it will consume you with corruption. And there's another statement. This is another reminder. The scary thing is, if your children go to public school, Ya Allah, they are so vulnerable. They are so, you know how easy it is to live a double life where you come around your mother, father, community, and you're this great person and mashallah, you carry yourself in a very good way. And then when you're around those who will not hold you accountable, very, very, very different person. Wallahi, there's too many like this in our community. Of people who are falling into zina, finding themselves in situations where, I committed this fahisha, and now I might have a child out of zina. What do I do? This is a reality that's happening in our community. Or that they find themselves, this is another situation where, someone acted very irresponsibly in the way they deal with this aspect of their life. And they got a certain disease, now he wants to get married, now she wants to get married. What do I do? What do I do, Shaykh? Because if I get married, then automatically what I have will transfer to my wife. And how can I tell someone this? This is a musibah and a calamity for someone to find themselves in this type of situation. Brothers, we need to be very mindful about what am I leaving my children alone with. I should not allow them to just be exposed to the fasad of society. Because there's a beautiful statement they say, الوقاية خير من العلاج. Preventative measures is far better than trying to cure an illness and a disease after it has festered. This is the other issue. Now, of course, what do we say as Muslims? Now here, okay, we've magnified how devastating an issue this is. As Muslims, how do we approach this subject? Why does Islam speak to, because now, look, we're in a secular society. And one of the things that secular society teaches, everyone does what they want. Individualism. Don't tell me how to live my life, I won't tell you how to live yours. Everyone chooses you. And what? If you try to say something about it, what they're going to say? Ah, you're judgmental. You're judgmental. Have you heard of this word before? Judgmental? Judgmental means, oh, you can't. You're speaking about other people. You need to leave people be and let them do what they want. Let them self-action. You know, by the way, this is the dangerous thing. Sometimes your children might need counseling, they might need therapy. And if they go to a professional counselor, professional therapist, what is this person's job and role? I need to help this person self-actualize. What does self-actualize mean? I need to enable them. I'm not going to tell them what they're doing is wrong. No, I need to let them do what they want and empower them. You do what you are. You do you. This is what society teaches say. We're in a secular society. Islam, what does it teach? Islam teaches that there's a two-way relationship between the individual and society. The society can corrupt individual and the individual corrupts society. And that's why there are certain ahkam that are for the jama'ah and certain ahkam that are for the individual. They apply to both, right? And that's because of this. So this is why Islam speaks so unequivocally about this. That's why zina by itself is one of al-mubiqat, one of the most devastating sins. It causes society to crumble and it ruins families and it creates so much mistrust. Now, how do we deal with this issue? There is a hukum, fiqhi hukum. Then there is a relationship. Then there is da'wah. These are three focuses, right? Because the first one, we're very clear on it. We've been speaking about it. Is there any room for a second opinion in Islam about allowing relationships with the same gender in this way, in a sexual way? Is there any room for this? Every Muslim who's aware of our past will tell you, of course not. Now, of course, this does not remain the case, though, by the way. In this day and age, there is a growing movement of Muslims who are part of this movement. And I had this is the third type of person that came to me. I had someone who identifies themselves as gay, and he's a Muslim, and he believes that he needs to go public with this because gay Muslims need models. So he wants to be examples, right? Qudwa. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. Qudwa hasana, gay person for another gay person. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This is in our community, people who have come to me in the masjid for this conversation. This conversation, I want to promote my beliefs because there are a lot of Muslims just like me. So the hukm fiqhi is very clear. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed a nation of the past because they have done something that no one else has done before. You'll find some people who are misguided who will try to mischaracterize this. They'll say, oh, the reason why Qawm Lut were punished was not because of this subject. They say because they were rapists. They'll say, oh, because they were rapists. Or they'll say, oh, they were punished because they did a lot of munkarat. This was only one of them. Right? No. They were punished mainly because they did something. There was many people who rejected the messages before. There was many people who were highway robbers. There were many people who did this. These other acts that they speak of. The main thing that Qawm Lut did that was different than everyone else was this fahisha. This same-sex attraction that they acted upon. Right? So we're clear on the hukum, no doubt. Of course, the attraction is different than the act. Now, of course, if a Muslim has the attraction, we tell them, hey, be patient. Be patient because you'll get a lot of reward for this if you're patient and you push away these bad thoughts. And maybe perhaps you need to talk to someone about it to get a proper perspective. Because sometimes these thoughts might have been, they're festered because what? No spirituality. You find, that people who go down this path of iyad billah, it's not just a one, it leads to multiple forms of debased behavior. Multiple forms. People who do this, they do not do it just with one person. They do it wal-iyadu billah because of an addiction to filthy things. With multiple people, they will do this. And they'll do this because they don't have any sense of spirituality in their hearts, no connection with Allah, no Quran, no dhikr, no dua. Very big misconceptions in the mind. Now, this is what we say about the person who has the attraction, and then the issue of acting upon it. Now, the biggest issue for us and the biggest danger, this is where the biggest danger is. My son, my daughter, they go to college and they get involved, they become active, and they find that there's other good people, or people who are decent, they have good social manners. They have good social manners. But they're part of this movement. They're gay, they're transgender. So my son, my daughter comes, how could Islam say these people are going to be punished? Fulan is a nice person. Fulan is how many people, the same thing with the issue of hijab. Really? Will Allah punish someone just because of a piece of cloth? There are many Muslims who don't wear hijab who are better than the ones who wear hijab. And the shubha comes in the mind, right? So when they deal with, or for example, the movement, they're very supportive for some causes that benefit us, right? They're very outspoken about Palestine or about other things. So, hey, we support you. Are you going to support us? Oh, every Muslim, and again, when we go to the issue of politics, it becomes its own, it's very, very, very big problem. Very big problem. People who have political ambition, they find themselves in a situation, I am part of this party, so I need to support this. What good is getting a position if the route to getting this position means that I'm going to have to put an X on all of my principles and value as a Muslim? Is there a real big benefit for the Muslim community for have someone in a political position who's named Zayd, Amr or Fatima, but there's absolutely no Islam to their lifestyle? Is that what we want? Is that the model that we want as a community? So this is a very big challenge. When Muslims try to become involved with greater society, if they don't have their values and their principles clearly in mind, then they will make this mistake and many other mistakes. Many other mistakes fall into them. The illicit mixing with the opposite gender. They'll be on a dinner spread where there's alcohol. They'll go to Christmas parties. They'll go to kada because what? Oh, it's a work party. I need to go because it's an opportunity to get close to the boss. And if I get close to the boss, what? I'm going to get promoted, right? So I'm going to allow myself, khamr is right here, and I'm sitting right in between. Wal-'iyadhu billah. Right? This is part of the problem. It's not just this LGBTQ issue. It's many other issues that come about at the center of this. When you allow your principles to take a back seat, there is no stopping how far you can go away. If you don't believe this, it's in Kalam al-Habib al-Mustafa, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did he say? إن مما أدرك الناس من كلام النبوة الأولى إذا لم تستحي فاصنع ما شئت. From the very first early teachings of prophethood, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you have no haya, then do as you may. What does this mean? If you don't have modesty, that means nothing will hold you back. You will be able to do anything. So this is about the relationship aspect of it. Be very careful. What do you expose yourself to? Don't ever allow a relationship to cause your principles to take a back seat. Not for a buck, not for a job, not for any political cause or whatever it is. Principles, number one. Everything else, number two. Principles, number one. Everything else, number two. If I'm clear about this and I teach this to my children, I'll be able to protect them from a whole lot. Right? Then the last aspect of this is the da'wah aspect. And this is an important one. Because obviously we have strong opinions on this issue. And we believe that someone who's fallen into this has fallen prey. They are a victim. Victim to who? Victim to who? They are a victim to the shaitan and to their nafs. And I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to allow this person to emerge from this darkness. That's where the da'wah comes. The da'wah comes in that I, as a Muslim, am not taught to dehumanize people. No. I'm going to make sure that everyone feels that they're respected, regarded. I'm going to preserve their human dignity. I'm not going to curse them. Oh, what does the Quran say? Right? Our Hafiz, which surah is this in? وَلَا تَسُبُّوا الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Which surah? فَيَسُبُّوا اللَّهَ عَدْوًا بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. There you go. MashaAllah. Allah bless. Alhamdulillah. Surah Al-An'am. Right? Surah Al-An'am. Don't curse them. Don't put down someone who's doing a ma'asiyah. This is the other side of this, right? I'm clear on my beliefs, right? But I'm going to communicate this with love, compassion, because Al-Habib al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was all about compassion and love. I'm going to be very mindful, because you never know, someone who's in this dark place today, maybe one day can emerge, and it'll be because of the blessings of your da'wah. This is how the Muslim approaches it as well. I'm going to be very mindful and not allow this to influence me, but at the same time, we teach as a community, hey, look, Islam hasn't put me in a position to punish people or to attack them or to put them. I'm not in this position. My in alayka illa al-balagh. The Quran says it. Your role is one of da'wah and balagh. You invite to the message. After this, you do it with the hikmah and the wisdom of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are three aspects, right? Fiqh, we're very clear on that. Relationships, I need to be very clear on my boundaries. Principles, number one. Nothing takes ahead of my principles. So that's the second. The third issue, I need to make sure that I communicate this message with hikmah and wisdom, so that maybe perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow people to emerge from the darkness and into the light, right? This subject is a very sensitive one. Look, during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, we know hadith, we just said it, we were just speaking about it, the story of the evident lie. This issue created so much instability in society and in the community of Medina. For one full month, there was a great confusion. The munafiqeen, they said a word that caused many believers who were on the fence to have doubt, right? And then others, and then it caused so much pain for Sayyidah Aisha, as her honor was accused in this way. It shows you, this is a very small model. This is what fahisha could do to society when it's allowed to run wild. This is what these accusations even could do. You know, even Islam was so protective of this issue that even when you're going to accuse someone of this, you better think once, twice, and thrice before you ever accuse someone of this. Don't even insinuate, oh, I saw Fulan with Fulana, and Allah knows, it seems like they were doing something inappropriate. Even insinuating like this. The Prophet was very clear on this. The Quran is very clear on this. Even the accusation, if it's not aided by clear evidence, what happens? 80 lashes. Right? That's how dangerous it is for these things to be allowed into society. There's so much more to say, but this is, I guess, a doorway into this subject. I don't know how much more time there is, if there's people who have questions or if you'd like to say something, but this is basically what I had for this session. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to better us and to protect our children and to help us protect them and to preserve us in society. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow the trend of this society to change from the path that it's currently going into a better one. Because the path that is going is leading into a deep, dark abyss. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from what the outcomes of what this could possibly be for everyone here. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help and aid us. Allahumma ameen.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh Osamah, for the very engaging and indeed concerning talk we had, but alhamdulillah, very engaging, and you explained everything very nicely, inshallah. And brothers and sisters, for the millennials here, this issue is hitting us right here at home. For those of us in Teaneck, right down the street over here, we have Bryant School. It's a completely pre-K, like literally only 3-year-olds and 4-year-old kids. But right outside, there's a flagpole with the America's flag, and right underneath, like our country's flag, and right underneath, sewn right into it, like so connected to it, is that pride color flag. And this is waving in front of the young children every day. They're going in and out. Obviously, just as the Shaykh explained right now, they come home with ideas and different questions like that. And also, brothers and sisters, you can't take a back seat on this right now, right? Because like for many of school back in the days when we went, you know, especially the millennials who are sitting over here, things are so different now, right? Back in the days when we went, you'd literally get jumped if you even fell into this category or anything. Well, now you're embraced. Now you're embraced. We're fast forwarding like 25 years, and things have totally, completely changed. So inshallah, as the Shaykh was explaining, we need to really get on top of this at home. just have discussions, inshallah, with our children. And also, if there is anybody with any questions, the Shaykh is here right now, inshallah, he can explain a little further if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I came here long time ago, 1970. Was, military, it was prohibited. It is against the belief of all religion, Christianity and Islam. Yeah, all major religion of the world prohibit this kind of behavior. It's abnormal. It's and it's unacceptable. It's like degrading. So people were like, it was said they were in the closet. This has been going on. Some people have this kind of tendency. Even back in India, where I come from, in those days, like you said, some men dressed like, we call it hijra. Means money and all that. It was like 70 years ago, 80, 75 years ago. I'm talking about. People were there in those days too, but there were very few of them and not acceptable to society. Oddballs. Now, here they want to be accepted. It's really degrading. Our own children at home and
Absolutely, absolutely. Jazakallah khair. Just to be clear on terminology, we have the issue of transgenderism. That's the T, right? Transgenderism. This is someone. In the past, they didn't used to call it transgenderism. There's this list of mental disorders. It's the DSM-5, DSM-4. It used to be called gender dysphoria. This is someone who's confused about his gender. I don't know. They used to see it in this country just until a few years ago. This is recent. Yeah. They used to see it as a mental disorder for someone who's confused about their gender. And the thing about transgenderism, it's easier to debunk it. Because what? Even these people who do the transition to another gender, subhanallah. You cannot change the creation of Allah. These people, they have to keep on taking hormones for the rest of their lives to try to maintain the appearance of another gender that they transfer to. As soon as they stop taking the hormones, many things about them will start reverting back to the asl and the origin. Right, so yeah, the very good point. The transvestites, they're the ones who dress like women. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. If there's anybody else who has any questions, inshallah. So inshallah, at this point, inshallah, we can start getting ready for Salatul Maghrib, inshallah. After Salatul Maghrib, we'll have dinner, inshallah. And also, this Tuesday, inshallah, blessed day of Arafat, inshallah, we'll have a community iftar here. So inshallah, if everybody can please start coming by 7:45, Shaykh Saad, inshallah, deliver a short halaqah on the blessed day, inshallah, followed by a dua. And then inshallah we'll go into iftar. So this Tuesday, June 27th. Tuesday, June 27th, inshallah. And also as a reminder, brothers and sisters, our admissions are open for our full-time Islamic school here, the Academy of Sawt al-Furqan. And as I was mentioning before, alhamdulillah, we have 3 different programs here. One is completely the secular studies from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade within an Islamic environment, inshallah, in which the children are coming to the masjid, inshallah, and spending their day over here with other students. And inshallah, they're playing and praying together through the day. The secular studies are taught with Islamic principles and values. Alhamdulillah, and apart from that, we have our advanced Hifz program for boys and girls, in which the students can come in, memorize the Quran, inshallah, and then go into their secular studies. And finally, for our daughters, we have the Junior Alima program, in which they come in, they study the first 2 years of the Alamiya program, and then they go into their secular studies. So admissions are open for that, inshallah. And for any questions on that, you can go to sawtulfurqan.org or see me, inshallah, after the program. And also, announcement about the masjid, inshallah. Every Thursday night, inshallah, we have recitation of salawat after Salatul Maghrib. And after on Jummah, inshallah, we have dars of the Quran, tafsir of the Quran, inshallah, after every Maghrib, inshallah. And enrollment is open for the masjid summer program, inshallah, which will be from Monday, July 31st to August 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The children will be coming here every morning, inshallah, studying the Quran based on their level, inshallah, going to Islamic studies. Inshallah, there'll be a field trip which will also be arranged, and they'll be spending their time, inshallah, with other Muslim children, inshallah, ages 4 through 14. And if any child is over that age, please reach out to us, inshallah, and we can enroll them also, inshallah. Jazakallah, that's pretty much it. Everybody can please get ready for Salah now. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله